Hello and welcome to another edition of the Women's Basketball Talk Show here at the University of Rio Grande. I'm with head coach David Smalley. I'm assistant coach Brandon Bias. Welcome, Coach.
Great to be here. And guess what we get to do today, Coach?
You tell me.
Avery, what do we get to do today? You can't see her, but what do we get to do today, Ave?
We get to play basketball.
We get to play basketball. All right, here we go.
Okay, Avery is going to join us as our other guest today, so it's just going to be us three, so I hope you all can bear with us and stay with us the entire show. So we're going to look back at our two games last week that we previewed on the last talk show, which is our game against Brescia and then our game against Point Park. So we're going to start with Brescia. We won the game, I believe it was 104-74. Got to be happy with that performance. Can you talk a little bit about that game, Coach Smalley?
Always happy with a W. Always happy with a W. And then Brescia's a unique team. You know, they've been down on their luck this year, but they're very athletic. They create some problems, and it's always kind of a challenge when you go down there to play, but we had them at home. And I thought we jumped out on them kind of early, 32-17, but they always are staying in that ability. They have that ability to kind of stay in range. But I really like what we did. Our bench did a great job of scoring, as they always have in the past. I think we had 46 points off the bench. It was great to get a good W, and then another game up in the over 100.
Yeah, definitely. And in that game, you know, anytime that we can have multiple people scoring double figures, you know, that always helps out the flow of the game. And then we always have people pitch in 4, 6, 8, 10, different things like that. But, you know, Kaylee Darnell had 18 points. Haley Jordan had 14 points. Ellis Keynes had 14 points. And Reagan Willingham, 4 of 8 from the three, had 15 points. I mean, can you talk a little bit about Reagan helping out in that game and then having 4 double-figure scores?
Well, that is a huge point. And before we get to talking about Willie, you know, everybody in the program got in, had valuable minutes, and scored. And again, our bench scored over 46 points, and the people that you highlighted with in double figures. And Willingham, you know, it was great to see her come in. She went 4 for 8 at the three. And that's what she does. That's what she's capable of doing. And we need that. That's another element that we haven't really had all throughout the season, just in spots and spurts. Mm-hmm. But now if we can get more consistency there, and I think she's kind of given us that a little bit. Kaylee Ross coming off the bench, hitting some threes. Avery's able to trail and hit threes in transition. So that was a huge, huge plus for us with Reagan Willingham doing what she was doing.
Yeah, definitely. And then you mentioned another name, Kaylee Ross. So Kaylee Ross came in and hit 3 of 5 threes that game. Can you kind of talk about, you touched on it just now, but, you know, Avery, Kaylee Ross, Reagan Willingham, I mean, you know, those people being able to spread the floor whenever they hit the three, and it kind of takes a part of our game we haven't had up until probably the last month of the season to a whole nother level.
That's a great point. In the years past, this program historically, we've kind of built around the three-point shot and the attack at the three-point line. You know, there's years that we'd score or attempt in the high 20s and in the 30s. Well, this year it's a little different, a different style and a different attempt, but yet we still have the ability to reach out. The people you just mentioned,
Post Gaines
and Ella, that's able to come in and do that, and our post players, Avery trailing at the three. Kaylee Darnell is very capable of hitting threes, but she's got that mid-range drive going on, and I think her three is going to be something that's going to be more of a positive later on. But we have the ability to do that, but our focus is inside. Transition, get it inside. We have some phenomenal statistics that you can touch on. I think we maybe lead the nation, or we're up there scoring in the paint, scoring points in the paint. So you want to dance with in my case, the girl that brought you, and that's our ability to get up and down the floor, get it inside, and then when we can add that 3-point shooting on the tail end of it, that even makes us even more of a threat. And I'm excited about where we are with that 3-point shooting now compared to where we were earlier.
Yeah, for sure. And Avery, can you kind of talk about, you know, we had that tough loss down at West Virginia Tech, and then, you know, we played against Carlo, and we jumped out that first quarter 31-0. We put them away. Then we played Brescia, put them away by 30. Can you kind of talk about where our mindset was for the Brescia game?
I think you have to attack every opponent the same. You can't ever underestimate anybody. we kind of approached it like we were playing West Virginia Tech or like we were playing IU East. So you can't ever underestimate any opponent, and you always got to show up and play to win.
And I'll piggyback off that. I thought the players, you know, when you come in off of a loss, and I'm old school and I never thought that losses were good, but I think now that's not that bad of a thing. It kind of makes you reset, makes you rethink some of the things you're doing. And I'll give our players some kudos and credit. We came in to practice a couple of sessions after the West Virginia Tech. Their eyes were open, their ears were pinned back, and they stayed focused. And we worked on some things. We worked on treeing in the post. We worked on boxing out and rebounding. We worked on our transition and getting it in the alleys and those types of things. And they really, really rose to those occasions. And I think that's been a good thing for us.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I think that the number one thing that's really just, I mean, the losses hurt. I mean, we're 26-2, and man, it's a bad taste in our mouth. But I'll tell you, the one thing that set us off the entire year was we got out rebounded bad when we played West Virginia Tech, and that's something, you know, that we hang our hat on every day. That's something that we do. That's what the University of Rio Grande women's basketball is about. So I think that kind of took us to the next level in this past week, going 3-0. So I'll let that kind of preview into the review back into the Point Park game. So Point Park, we go up to Point Park, we know it's always going to be a fight when we go up there. It doesn't matter what the records are. Point Park is coached well, they play well. Same with us, so we know it's always going to be a fight. We go up there, we win 99-91. We don't always want to have a win in a shootout. We'd prefer a 15, 20-point win. But that's not going to be the case, because every single time we play somebody, they know that they're going to play their best game against the University of Rio Grande. Can you kind of talk about that?
Well, as you alluded to, Point Park is a very dynamic team, and they are getting better and better as the season has progressed. And when you're playing on their home courts, doesn't matter, could be at Allegheny CCC Junior College, it could be at Duquesne, or it could be at Oakland Catholic High School. When they play up there, they're a completely different ball club. And Coach Grenick does a great job with them. And they came out, their eyes were open and ears pinned back, and they were focused from the beginning. And I thought we were too. We did a lot of nice things. And a couple of things that we've done lately, free throw shooting. You know, in our Brescia game, we were 23 of 29 for 79%. And then up at Point Park, we only got to the line, I believe, 16 times, but we made 14 of them. Whereas Point Park got to the line 32 times and made 26. So that was we're making a great percentage. We just need to get there maybe a little more often, but that's a big plus for us. And Point Park had the ability to shoot threes. Little Burns, a little guard that they have, I thought China Chambers did a tremendous defensive job on her, but she still ended up with 29 points. But they were hard 29 points for her, and they just kind of got on fire. They hit a lot of threes. Then they had Wren on the inside that it kind of frustrated me that we didn't have any answers for her, and she hit 29. They both were above their average, so we're going to get, as you indicated, the best from everybody going forward, and I'm pleased with where our players were. I think we've handled that adversity. We didn't get stressed or shook. I thought the bench came in and did some nice things in that game as well. So Point Park did a great job, and they're a good ball club, and we're excited that we got out of there with a 8-point win.
Yeah, and, you know, we start looking at it, and, you know, as coaches, you know, maybe we whine a little too much, and we think we should get more foul shots than this team or this situation. But, you know, being one of the leading scoring teams in points in the paint, you would think that we would draw some contact at some point. You know, but then you start looking at the field goal percentage, and maybe they think we're just that good and we should finish with the contact. First quarter, 53%. Second quarter, 56%. Third quarter, 60%. Fourth quarter, 67% from the field. I mean, some of those got to be AM1s, I would assume.
You would think, and you know what we need to do? We need to send the officials maybe a little snack box or something, and put a little note in there and let them know some of these statistical things that you're talking about.
We should have sent them some Valentine.
It is frustrating that, you know, it's just tough for the players to understand the flow of officiating when it is so one-sided or lopsided. And again, I'm a firm believer officials don't go out there with the intention that they're going to maybe shortchange a particular team, but the speed of the game is really, really creating a lot of problems for the style of officiating. And once that kind of catches up, I think we'll get to see better officiating.
Yeah, so let's look at some of the key points for the Point Park. I mean, Ella Skeens erupts for 33 points, 4 of 5 from the 3 and 5 for 5 from the foul line. Ella has the ability to score and do different things, but man, when she's on, she's on. As soon as you see her shaking that head after one of her shots, you know you want to keep going back to her. But sometimes with Ella's eruption of scoring, people don't notice. Haley Jordan is as steady as it comes. I mean, 23 points. I believe when Ella had her 40, she had 27 points. So, she's there and she's doing things, and sometimes that may get overshadowed. And everybody chipped in. We had those 6 and 8s and 6 and 8s. Kaylee Darnell, who's a freshman, had 0 points, I believe, going into the fourth quarter and ended up with 13. So, we have the ability to, we're not just the two people that can do it. Avery comes in there with 6 points. Kaylee Ross goes 2 of 3 from the 3 for 6 points. Asia Williams plays, maybe a season high 26, 27 minutes and scores 6 points. So, those two, the two that we talk about scoring, they probably are going to be our highest scorers in those games. But who's going to step up and be that third and fourth person? Who's going to chip in? And, I think that's the thing that makes us the most dangerous is those people can do. We have people that can. We have 5, 6, 7, 8 people that can jump in and get 10 to 12 points in a game.
That's the difference in this program now than 5, 10, 15 years ago. We were always able to put 6, 7 players out there that pretty daggone good. This year with our depth, that makes us a tougher team to prepare for, because as you mentioned, and we got players that if they were logging more minutes, they're going to get more points. But the thing of it is, it makes us so much more stronger and such a tougher team to deal with when we're going 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 deep. Those players are just as solid and strong as the first 5 or 6. That's a headache for the opponents. That's why I believe officially we're if we get a W today, we're going to win the league. We're going to win the league tournament. We're going to get to the national tournament. That's the difference in top 22, because that's as high as we seem to be at this particular point in time. We've been 18. I believe, and I'm not a boasting type of person, I believe we are a 11, 12, 13, 14 team in this world of NAI women's basketball, because we've proven that. But we're not. But I think the reason for it is our depth, and our players have bought into that, and that's the reason why hopefully we'll get a little more jewelry.
Yeah, and speaking of top 25 and different things like that, that's one thing we've not let drag us down. It's actually been motivation for us. Is whatever it may be, you may not have respect for our conference, you may not have respect for us. Maybe it's the good old buddy system of rating and doing different things. But the beautiful thing is, as long as we make it to the national tournament, as long as we win our conference tournament, people have to play us, and then we can show where we belong. And that's what we've kind of our motto's been all year is just show up and do what we do. And people will recognize that at some point, and then those people that put us in certain situations may be the people that have to play us, and I don't think that that's going to be great for them. Avery, after the Point Park win, that brings us to 26-2. Mm-hmm. School record for the best regular season is 27-3. We have 2 games left. Mm-hmm. Ohio Christian tonight, and then Oakland City Thursday. So we have a chance to be the best women's basketball team in a single season in the history of Rio Grande. I mean, what would that mean to be a part of that?
That's pretty awesome. I think 20. We could end up with. We're 26-2 right now.
Yeah, we got 2 regular season games.
So I think anytime you have that many wins in a season, it's a good season. It's a fun season.
Yeah, and I mean, Coach Smalley, has been the head coach for 30 years, but this program was around way before he got into that. So to have a chance to, as the tradition of this program, to be labeled the best or the highest winning percentage team would be awesome. I mean, Coach?
It would be. The percentages is a key point, and then the number of wins. I mean, if you analytically look at it, we're 26-2. If finish out 28-2, win the conference tournament 28, 29, 30, 31-2, and then get into the national tournament. So we can hit on a lot of different plateaus, and the percentage is extremely important. And you just got to play, and you got to be focused. And our players have just done a tremendous job with that, and the coaching staff. We do this one championship game at a time, and it doesn't matter if it was Carlo or if it's Ohio Valley. This is our next game, and we just got to keep focusing on that. And we've been doing a good job with that, and we just got to keep that going. And there's no indication that that's going to stop. We are focused on who we are and what we're doing, and people are buying into it. My concern, one of the concerns I have is I don't know that these ladies get enough accolades. I really don't. And we're not a team that, look at us, but my gosh, look at the things that this program has done. And we keep it in-house. We keep it in our own bubble. We celebrate. We know who we are and what we're doing. And we're excited that we've got to, you hit on something a little bit ago. Everything, in order to get the respect that this league needs and that we need to finish this thing out. We need to win the conference tournament. We need to get the national tournament and win additional games in the national tournament. And why not? Why can't we be in that conversation? Final Four, national championship game, win the national championship. So that's where we are. Really appreciate our players and respect our players for buying into that. And I'm excited to see how this thing ends.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to do this show from the Final Four. And
we can do that.
We'll fly Mike out. We'll fly him out. We'll fly him out.
We'll double clutch Mike out to Sioux City, Iowa.
We'll tell him bring the studio with him, and it'll be a glorious show. So let's go ahead and preview to the one-game championship, the most important game on our schedule, which is tonight, Ohio Christian. A lot on the line. We win tonight, we're the regular season champions. It's not over if we lose. We got a chance Thursday, but we want to win tonight. And not only do we want to win, this team has been ahead of us for 5 consecutive games at halftime. And although we've won all those games, that still leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Can you kind of give us, before we kind of give a little history of the previous game with Ohio Christian, can you kind of tell me what we got to look forward to tonight?
Well, what we have to look forward to is a hungry Ohio Christian team that analytically, I think there may still be a chance that if they can win out against us and their last game, that maybe they can knock Point Park out of the position. I don't know. That's analytical, but that's what they're looking at. So they're going to be dialed in, and that's a tough place to play. A tough place to play up there. They have some nice players. They have Gillum, that's number 15, I think her first name's Rachel, who is Player of the Week this week in the River States Conference. She's a great player, nice post player. I mean, she's capable of having 20 points, 20 rebounds on any given game. So we're going to have our hands full with her. They have some guards that go along with them, as we call her,
Boyer.
Miss Boyer. She's a nice point guard, can shoot the three, and we got to be able to handle what she's going to bring to the mix. And then again, we're on the road. So, but you know what? We understand what's at stake. You just mentioned it. Get this win tonight, then that solidifies who we are, that we're the River States Conference 2022 champions, and we're going to be dialed in. And it's going to be just like the Point Park game. It's going to be an up and down game early. It's probably going to be a little ugly early. We have a bigger, deeper, stronger, better bench than they do. Once we get Ohio Christian into their bench, then I think you're going to see that we're going to maybe have some separation. Great team, and we've always had rivalries with them in the past. But we got to be on the road. We got to be focused, and we'll do well tonight if we have that mentality.
Yeah, and so when we preview back to that game that we played earlier, which seems like a season ago, which was back in November, we were down 1 point, 43-42 going into halftime. I believe we started out 12-0. I mean, we jumped out on them. And then, they slowly, came back, and then they took the 1 point lead going into halftime. If I remember, there was a very stern talking to the team at halftime about our goals and where we stood at that time. We were 11-0 at the time. We hadn't had somebody that kind of smacked us like that. and they had came back and did that. But then in the second half, we outscored them 69-39, 69 points and a half. Can you kind of talk about where the gears switched? And in that game, you got to think, tell me the last time you've had this in your program. I don't know that it's been in my tenure with you. 3 20-point scores in one game. You had 27 points from a player, 21 points, and 20. Can you kind of talk about, that balance and what clicked in us in that second half?
Well, I want to thank Anna Jeffers. That's the little redheaded girl that's kind of one of our team motivators. She came in at halftime and gave that talk that you're talking about. So I love Anna and appreciate you doing that. And again, it was just getting ourselves adjusted and getting understanding, when you come out, and I as a coach, I don't like to see us come out and just score a bunch of points early, because psychologically you have a tendency to kind of just exhale and relax, and then here comes the opponent. So, and that hasn't happened to us a lot, but sometimes that does happen, and I think maybe that was part of that situation back then. And then, again, the team responded as they've always responded. We've always responded to those situations, and it was in a positive way and came out, and we just did what we were capable of doing. This is the most unselfish team that I've had in my tenure here, and our statistics such as assists per game show that, and that is, to me, that's one of the big things that gets us over some of those crunches that we get into. Before
we get to ask Avery a question, let's wrap up the part of the preview here. Thursday, you got Oakland City coming in. They're going to be in our pod for the second round, possibly, of the conference tournament. So, it's going to be good for both of us to get a feel for each other in case we have a rematch here in about a week and a half. Very hard-playing team, hard-nosed, well-coached by Coach Hawkins. Can you kind of talk about Oakland City?
Well, last time we played Oakland City was up at their place, and it seems like it's been 2 years ago. It's been a minute ago in their terms, and they're very athletic, and I remember getting out of Oakland City with maybe a 6, 7, or 8 point win. They're very athletic. They're very well coached. Coach Hawkins has done a tremendous job with that program. And if you look back at the scores in this league, they've been in the games with just about everybody, and they've lost a few games, but I think they're second on the West, if I remember correctly.
Currently.
And they're just one of those teams. You got to be dialed in, and we got to win the statistical battles, such as boxing out and rebounding, and we got to get to the free throw line 24 plus times, and we got to shoot a good percentage, and we got to take care of the basketball, and we got to be dialed in. And you're right. We'll probably have to go through, well, it's either going to be them or West Virginia Tech at this particular point, and things could change. But, it's a challenge, and this was a game that was postponed earlier, and we're fortunate to make it up for this coming Thursday. And, by the way, this game on Thursday will be a 5 o'clock tip-off when we play Oakland City at Rio on Thursday the 17th. Yeah. So just make our fans be aware of that. But it's going to be a great game.
We'll put out stuff. So, Avery, previewing back, senior, you've had senior night. You've already had shed a couple of tears there. But, the growth of you as a player and a person over the 4 years that I can see, you're just an awesome person to be around. But you had stated that when you come into the program, though, every single year you're like, I want a ring, I want a conference championship. Your freshman year, you probably come into one of the more loaded teams that we've ever had until we had this current team. And then, we're playing Taylor down at the show, and, we pushed them to an overtime, and we lost. But then, all these players, we just started losing them to injury, one after another, after another, after another. And then, we fought hard, but, I don't know that we had all the tools to survive and make that conference run. Next year comes back, Sydney recovered from her injury, and she said, let's go, we're gonna lead this team. And, we made it all the way to the Final Four of the conference tournament, and we lost, couldn't make a shot at the end at the buzzer to win it, but we fought hard. And then last year, COVID, and we're all like, are we in, are we out? We're playing these games, do they count, do they not count? Then they're like the two teams that make it to the championship win. Then we're pulling ping pong balls out to see who plays who. And then all of a sudden, here we are. We're in a championship game against West Virginia Tech. Mm-hmm. And we just don't play our best game. So now here we are, your senior year, coming into the season. Can you tell me, knowing that you only had one shot at this, where was your head? What did you feel?
I was excited, a little nervous, but I think that goal, that's still the ultimate goal. I want a ring. So I think that's just a motivator, knowing that I only had 1 year left. It's time to get to work. We've had the great season that we have had. I think we've been really focused this year, and it's been one of the most fun years that I've ever been a part of.
That's good. And so when we're looking into it tonight, we have a chance to clinch the regular season championship, which you get a ring in three different ways in this program. You win the regular season, you win the conference championship, you go deep into the national tournament, because the ring has to tell a story. It can't just be a ring. So the story's not ending on what that ring's going to say. But we do know that if we win tonight or Thursday, there's going to be a ring. And then it's up to us to figure out what's going to be on that as a story. Coach?
Well, the storyline is that this lady to my right, Miss Avery, has been a huge part of this all along. First of all, she's been captain. She was captain material when she walked on campus, and when she walks off campus is still our captain. And to me, I put that in high standard, high regards. There's not a lot of people that I can say that looking back over the years, and there's a few of them, but she is up there with the elite. And to be able to do that on a day in, day out basis within the program, on the court, off the court, all the shenanigans and all the drama and all the stuff that goes on, I really am appreciative of that, because people like Miss Avery Harper, captain, shelters me from a lot of stress and headaches, because she has that maturity and that ownership, and she's able to handle things. Then when things need to be brought to my attention, that knock on the door, and we talk about things like that. So that to me is extremely important. I feel sorry for Miss Avery, because I think she's going to need a tutor in archery class. That 3.9, 5.5555 in chemistry biology is in jeopardy, because archery is a tough academic class. That's another thing. I mean, academics has never suffered with her, and basketball hasn't suffered. She's been able to juggle all those things, and we're so happy and excited for her and for her contribution. And she's a foundation block, and an extremely important foundation block from a freshman and through her senior year to reach the goals that we're looking for. And then what's going to happen in the future, I'm probably going to need some dental work down the road, so I know she's going to be a dentist, and I hope that I get a little discount when I go and see her. But we love her, and we're appreciative of who she is, and more importantly, what she is to this program, and the value that she brings to it. So an old Adams County kid, those Adams County kids are pretty sweet. So I just wanted to get that in. And the ring tells a story. Somebody asked me, what's that ring? Is that a class ring? And I just took it off. Actually, I think I was at BP up here, and I said, the ring tells a story. I said, you tell me the story. And she starts looking at it, and it does tell a story, and I'm excited that we're going to have a ring. A strong possibility and potential of having a ring this year that's going to tell a tremendous story for the Avery Harpers of the world in this program, and our coaching staff and Coach Hoover.
Definitely. And let's add that my son Bennett, his favorite player is Avery by a long shot. So I know that little guy's going to miss getting to see her play basketball and stuff. He likes pointing at her on the TV and saying that's my friend. We're going to go out tonight. Hopefully everybody that's close to Circleville can come out to the game. It's going to be at 5:30. I promise it'll be entertaining, and you'll get our best effort. But hopefully when we're having this show next Tuesday, we're previewing the first round of the conference tournament, which is going to be a home game, hopefully. And we'll be talking about some nets we cut down, and we'll be talking about some plans we're going to be making. But all that's not going to be possible unless we take care of it tonight. Tonight's a business trip, and we hope you join us. And until next time, that's all we have to say.